All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. This is episode 138. I'm your host, Adam. Topher is out this week, but we have a special guest for you this week. Our guest today runs secretmilitarytechnology.com. He's a researcher who's taken open source intelligence to a whole new level. After 4 years studying and building, or it might be longer, custom AI systems for deep research, he started uncovering patterns that connected plasma physics, black budget programs, and advanced propulsion concepts going all the way back to the Manhattan Project. His findings, published for peer review recently, have stirred up attention and some controversy online. We're joined by the creator of Secret Military Technology to talk about what he's discovered and how AI is changing the landscape of open source investigation. His handle on X is Military Solved. So definitely everyone go check him out. He's sharing some really amazing research. Military Solved, welcome to the UAP podcast.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me on. It's a real pleasure. I'm excited to see what we get into today.
Yeah, us too. And you did. I guess you started your X account only recently, right? In September. So just last month, you really showed up. I guess you decided to become I guess more public than you were in the past. Correct? You were,
Yes.
I think, dealing with this more privately. And just, I mean, you were talking to a lot of people. I mean, one of those as well. We found out as Ashton Forbes. You guys were in discussion, but there's
Yes.
probably other researchers that you were in contact with and connecting with this subject. Correct.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, this was a real solo research effort. I sort of, designed this system again, not with this sort of intention of uncovering OSINT or any kind of
That's right.
secret government programs. But
Yeah.
I think like anyone, I was curious about sort of the prospects of these existing. So naturally, I set out to find out, how is this possible? And if
Yeah.
there is some kind of stuff, out there, then, what would be the sort of infrastructure and,
Hmm.
place that would exist upon. And that's been proven through the research to be sort of this network of experts and human capital that they use as sort of
Right.
people to transfer knowledge between institutions and contractors and stuff. It's really interesting, and it goes all the way back to the Manhattan Project. And again, all of this data has just simply been found by just sort of getting the AI to research
That's
different
amazing.
sources, asking the AI, saying, and asking the AI questions.
Yeah.
This is an interestingly, let's explore that. But of course, maintaining integrity and unbiasedness, and
Right.
and it's been really good at that. And It's staggering
Yeah.
what it's found, quite frankly. I think there's so much here, but people just need to peer review it and simply get through sort of, you know, all the data.
I mean, they definitely can't hide everything. They would love to. I mean, security of this nature is extremely expensive. I mean, some of it even surpasses the project cost. The security around it. So,
Mhm.
I mean, this is fascinating. So, you said you designed your own custom LLM. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And again, it's not it's using off the shelf things. People could do it quite easily.
Okay.
It's just sort of being savvy with sort of the tools that are out there, the latest and greatest.
Hmm.
Leveraging the latest developments at Google, OpenAI, whatever the latest models, and just sort of building on top of that.
Oh no,
Yeah.
and you started before as a trading analysis tool, right? And then
Yeah,
originally,
precisely. Yeah. So again, yeah,
very
the
cool.
initial the initial intention was to sort of just use it as a general sort of investment analysis tool. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, and just further, so this LLM model, so it conducts. Is it autonomous research, or I mean, can you walk us through how it's done, or do you feed it the information and then go through prompts, or do you
Yes,
send it
so
out to go search for it?
it's a bit of a recursive process in terms of sort of it generates the report. Obviously,
Yeah.
you can have a line of inquiry, and sort of set out what your objectives are. Like kind of what you're hoping to find,
Right.
um, you know, for example, when I was starting the investigation, I set out to find out how are these, FRC plasma orbs,
Hmm.
are they genuinely a real sort of operational technology, or
Right.
um, some kind of just thing that just exists in theory? And obviously it's quite funny actually, and I should probably have timestamped the documents, but progressively you can see as it maps out sort of the progression of the research amongst these physicists, and sort of the programs, and the event and the quite recent Compact Fusion program, which has plasma physicists involved and stuff. Um, I mean, it's kind of taken all that information. It's taken all the data set of all the research, and it's quite steadfast and certain that there is this program, which you obviously couldn't get if you ask,
Yeah.
um,
Exactly.
so,
Exactly.
the key is, you can maybe even repeat these results for yourself, for others that are wanting to peer review these things. Obviously, the difficulties with the context window of all the research, but I'm sure you could figure out how to sort of get that. But you could easily feed all this information to the AI and take an unbiased stance, and it could evaluate the information. I'm sure it would reach the same conclusions, or at least come to a confidence score
Yeah.
as to what it thinks with the available information.
Yeah, and you have a great website that organizes all the research that you've done. One of them is the timeline, which which goes back to 1946 when it comes to, you said, field reversed configuration (FRC) and compact fusion reactor (CFR) technologies. Um,
Yes.
and that goes. So when he said the orbs, I mean the orbs specifically, are you talking about the MH370 orbs? I mean, is that what
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what sparked
So
the interest? Like, okay,
that is ultimately
yeah,
what sparked the interest. Yeah.
yeah,
Obviously, I know they're a point of contention for most of those videos themselves.
right,
Um, and
yeah,
I do think, obviously, um, despite all the controversy surrounding those videos, I mean, what a specific sort of thing to have on video.
yeah, right,
And then you sort of pair that up with sort of the circumstance around that night, and you see
yeah,
that there was actually some strange sort of OPSEC moves
hmm,
from the government. For example, turning off the hydroacoustic arrays near Diego Garcia.
right.
A flawless operation after 14 years. That it has its first failure. Um, and that PowerPoint is actually in there somewhere. But again, apologies. It's just so hard to sort of get all that information there. That's why I put it out there for everyone to see.
No, yeah,
So
and thanks for that. And but when it comes to the timeline, there's some names I don't know about, like Nicholas Christopoulos. So he was a Greek
yes.
engineer. He pursued interest in nuclear physics. So very interesting. So he was looking into CFR technologies.
Well,
Doing
as far as I understand, Christopoulos. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that,
Yeah,
but
Christopoulos. Yeah.
yeah, um, he uh, he sort of investigates sort of like the precursor to like what was observed with these plasmas, and like sort of when they was doing the experiments in the Manhattan Project. As far as I understand it, again, I'm not a physics
Yeah.
background. It's
Right.
just sort of reading this information so many times, and sort of you get a feel for sort of what's going on. Um, so as far as I understand it, when they was doing the experiments of the Manhattan Project, and sort of earlier experiments with Christophilus at Lawrence Livermore,
Hmm.
um, they observed sort of weird behaviors with these plasmas, and sort of how they'd form like a sort of structures and stuff within the
Yeah.
devices, and sort of self-arranging and stuff like that. So these plasmas were always weird, and potentially maybe even that was sort of the incentive for like later work at James Tuck at Los Alamos, and sort of his work deeper investigating sort of these plasma behaviors and stuff like that, alongside Oppenheimer, and some of the greats, like
Oh,
many
wow, this is
people would have heard of.
amazing. Yeah, I mean, this is a project called the Astron project at Livermore National Laboratory.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
that's
never
right.
even heard of that. So did the AI find this project?
Yeah, again, just outstanding. I had
Yeah,
never heard of the Astron project or what followed later on from that, the Sherwood project. I'd never heard of either of those.
yeah.
And from what I understand of the research, these were deep investigations into this sort of weird behavior of plasmas and sort of all the different ways to sort of utilize that and stuff. And eventually, when it gets to the time period of the 70s, that's
Right.
when dedicated sort of programs at Los Alamos pop up to solve the key instabilities of a self-sustaining plasma ball.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just crazy how we talk about nukes all the time and thermonuclear weapons, and but this it's been obvious. There's been a parallel research to something far more advanced and far more
Hmm.
more dangerous. Uh,
Yeah.
if they think someone else can get this research.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's a great timeline. And what we covered Epstein actually when he we covered Epstein and his ties to plasma research, gravity research.
Hmm.
But we didn't see the stuff you did. I mean, we went to different to mainstream sources, right? There was, I forget which magazines, but a lot of them actually wrote long and detailed articles. They were actually really well done, even though it's done by the mainstream. And they wanted to go after the conferences that he had, his interest in scientists. I mean, he was always interested in scientists and schmoozing them and doing
Yeah.
whatever. But he's obviously an Israeli agent, and we know their obsession with U.S. defense contractors and them wanting
Hmm.
everything. They just want everything.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole enchilada. They don't want this country to keep away anything from them. So it's not surprising that they would send someone like that or use someone like him to find out what is going on in these contractors and if gravity research is real. So yeah, there is a research document that you put together corroborating the Epstein plasma physics nexus. So yeah, let us know what you found out here. Anything that stands out from this research?
Yeah. So again, I had heard, sort of that Epstein had this workshop,
Okay.
and obviously sort of combining that with sort of the previous research into this specific CFR program and how that possibly links to sort of the research done in plasma physics and how that might actually be the sort of platform that the CFR program is. So, sort of combining that all together sort of revealed a bit of an overlap of expertise and networks. And uh, so it seems the analysis of this document is that this workshop was, a mix of all different sort of expertise and
Mhm.
physicists, but specifically one individual, Edward Thomas Jr.,
Yeah.
was like an expert in sort of an active sort of field of physics relevant to advanced propulsion concepts at the forefront of NASA and everything. So
Yeah, he's an
it seems
interesting
like it.
figure,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
From
yeah,
Auburn University, something about dusty plasmas is what he was
yeah.
looking into back then.
Yeah, yeah. Again, very interesting. Dusty plasmas, space plasmas, all these different sort of intersections of expertise. Um, and it really does seem like it was a sort of an intelligence gathering sort of
Right.
national security event. I think it aligns with sort of what's said um, about Epstein a lot of the time. He was intelligence, and I think if you look at the way sort of the disclosures happening around him, it's clear that there's some kind of national security aspect that's preventing them from
Yeah.
telling us the truth. So I would beg to differ that it was that he
Mhm.
um, was a vector for control of a lot of these key people
Exactly.
in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's not I mean, yes, it's disgusting that he trafficked women and underage, but that can't be the reason why they're not releasing this information. Why the president of the United
Mhm,
States is gaslighting us, to stop asking questions and that it's a Democrat hoax. It's really bizarre
mhm,
behavior. And still, I mean, the government's shut down. We have I think 208, yeah, we got the 218 signatures to lift this, but there's no way to do it. It's just insane.
mhm,
And people are, of course, are saying that it's because everyone is blackmailed. Well, you know, that's been human society since forever, right? The politicians and leaders get blackmailed or bribed or whatever. So yeah, it has to be something where he was maybe able to penetrate the military
Hmm.
contractors and get some secrets out to Israel. You know, it could be that
Hmm.
it was
Hmm.
that serious, and that's why they're not releasing this information.
Yeah, and in actual fact, just sort of more recently, I think it's clear that globally, this is a field of research for all big, economies now. Anyone
Yeah,
that's got nuclear bombs is interested in this stuff too. And
yeah,
I think if you look at sort of the speculation around sort of advanced propulsion concepts and stuff, it's clear that it's likely that plasmas and stuff will be involved in that.
yeah.
I mean, just even looking at sort of how seriously they take this research and sort of the initiatives that are spun out by NASA and sort of like FAST and stuff like that. It's a very serious topic of research that Russia, China, and Israel all have their own dedicated programs, and Japan as well, actually, quite
Yeah, I wouldn't be
significantly in
surprised. I
Japan.
mean, yeah, you'd definitely be left behind. Yeah, oh yeah, Japan probably has been doing this for a while, or was probably
Hmm.
involved with the United States, you know, back in the day,
Hmm.
doing that. So yeah, the document talks about Edward Thomas Jr., Frank Wilczek.
Yeah.
Also, he's a circumstantial link. Particle physicist. Look at all these guys. Kip Thorne. So you know, he wasn't just schmoozing these people and trying to, you know, for cocktail parties saying, "I know this guy, I know this guy." He did it for a reason.
Hmm.
Um, Confronting Gravity attendee vetting matrix. So when you use the AI, you specifically used the Confronting Gravity
Yeah, yeah.
concept,
So,
right?
I mean, I simply, again, I was, you know, coming into this subject. It's not like I've got a sort of you know,
Yeah.
much experience researching Epstein or UAPs or anything like this. So, um, it's just generally just asking questions and letting the AI reach its own conclusions, making sure to stay within credible sources as sort of its
Nice.
domain of search. And in fact, if you scroll down to every single one of these documents, you'll see a comprehensive list of sources. So, I mean, people can really go out there and just sort of, and that's the beauty of OSINT intelligence, I guess. Again, it's something I'm quite new to as well.
Yeah.
But people can just sort of check this stuff out and really get to the nitty gritty details of everything and verify it.
Oh yeah, look at that. Look at all these sources. I mean, just for this one, it goes on
Yeah,
for three,
yeah.
four
So I
pages.
mean, you can really imagine how much data data
Yeah,
there is. It's
right.
an incredible
Yeah,
amount.
and unfortunately, Google and these other search engines keep these away from us. So I'm interested how you found all these. Was the AI also that went and found the open source links research?
Yeah, again, it was. I frankly, I'm astounded with some of the things it's found as well.
Yeah.
Um, some of the things that I've come across in sort of just looking at this stuff has just been quite frankly jaw dropping. Um, I mean, one key thing was the Space Disruptors Day presentation. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
No. So this is actually like an event that seems to happen like every year, and it
Okay.
hosts all these different contractors. Well, yeah, contractors. They've got
Hmm.
active
Hmm.
contracts, and one key person being like Richard Banderick. You might have heard of him,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
sort of Charles Chase and and Hal Poff. These are all the
Of
attendees
course.
of this. Like a whole workshop that lasts a day, and they quite openly talk about these concepts and as real avenues for sort of advanced propulsion that would exhibit these UAP like characteristics. So
Right.
to me, you know. I think it's less of a novel topic of conversation now, and sort of something that needs to come into the fold of sort of dialogue as a society, so we can, you know, use this stuff for good, and go to other planets and stuff. I mean, how cool would that be?
Go to this exactly. Go to the stars. That's all we want. Or free energy instead of just being on this prison planet. It's a large universe out there. I don't understand the obsession with keeping
Yeah,
humans, trapped on this planet. Unless we're part of an experiment and they need the experiment to go on, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, definitely. Again, who knows? But again, to sort of answer your question more clearly, I don't think it delved in. Well, I don't think it delved into any kind of like a niche sources. Although it is possible it could, sort of find really obscure sort of like hidden links and stuff. I don't really know. One thing I
yeah.
would often find when I check the sources, is it would find like weird PowerPoints and stuff. Like it was really good in finding the specific PowerPoint that went out to the staff at UCT2 to explain the outage of the hydroacoustic network, like all these little things. But
So crazy. I'm
just normal Google, normal Google.
right. Okay, yeah. So it does use Google and does a web search. It does use something like Google, right? It doesn't go on its own
Yes. Yes,
to
that's right. Yeah, as far as I understand it, anyways. Again,
right.
obviously,
Yeah.
it's tough to sort of know um, the AI's thinking process for every individual
Yeah.
sort of document and stuff.
I mean,
Um,
and yeah,
but yeah,
and it
yeah,
has its own ways and means of searching better than us because it understands the
yeah,
technicalities. Because I use AI all
yeah,
the time in my work and my job, and it's the best for code, and I use it a lot
yes.
for writing code. And it is written, it's made by code, so of course it's going to understand code very well.
Yeah, again,
Yeah,
AI was very helpful for
yeah.
this whole research process. Like again, um I'm not from this world, this OSINT world or anything like that, but this is
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah,
Very cool. And there was another document called Boeing and Skunk Works,
that's
um,
right.
which is the CFR test operations. Can you
Mhm.
walk us through this one? This one I had a lot of interest in as well, because especially if there's
Yeah.
proof now that, but what you basically did, you linked. Anyway, yeah, I'll let you tell us.
Yeah, again, there really is so many documents here. So even I had to, like read through this again and sort of take a second look, because this was one of the earlier documents that I actually shared sort of in the Discord of Ashton when I was trying to sort of get him to share
Okay.
this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, this document was created in probably late August, and what it explains is that Boeing is the likely sort of operator of or well, specifically this supposed FRC plasma compact fusion orb
That's so crazy.
technology,
Yeah.
and this again, after sort of evaluating everyone, not just Boeing, it's weighing up the pros and cons and
Hmm.
sort of doing everything in this process. It's really interesting, and it's arrived to this conclusion. And I think when you read these, it does inherently make sense, which and it takes you back really. But essentially, this document says Boeing, under an active program, has the perfect cover to operate this specific technology without disclosure or anything. Um,
Right.
you know, we would
No
expect it,
FOIA.
but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
We cannot FOIA Boeing because they're
yeah,
a corporation, which is probably why all these programs are under there.
yeah, yeah,
You know what's
exactly.
really crazy though about something like Boeing? I mean, they can't make planes as well as they used to, right? They even if you remember, that was a huge scandal of them trying to go to the moon and or at least or put astronauts in orbit, and they couldn't even bring them back. It was really
Bring them back.
embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
then
It's
and then
quite funny.
Musk had to
Yeah,
step in. And I always said, I'm
yeah.
like, it's because they don't make these things anymore. These guys are somewhere
Hmm.
else creating other technologies, not this
Hmm.
ancient. I don't think they have the skill set anymore to do that.
Yeah, it really feels like sort of humanity's got to the stage where we've stopped innovating because we're in actual fact using technology that was discovered a long time ago. I
Yeah,
think in another one of the documents on the docket today, the CIA document, you can see that all these different military companies have been investigating the cutting edge today.
yeah,
40 plus years ago, and we're only just seeing some of these innovations now. It really is staggering. But just look at from the iPhone and sort of stuff like that. It's just sort of the
right.
same stuff every year, slightly better.
Hmm.
Um, and I think planes and propulsion is another example. Why hasn't there been serious open debate and dialogue into this sort of topic? And the only person that I've seen take this seriously, or people really, is like Eric Weinstein, and
Yep.
I saw his debate with Hal Puthoff a couple of years ago, and I found that quite interesting. So again, I take these things quite literally. I'm not from a physics background. I do have physics awareness, and I wouldn't consider myself a world-class physicist by any
All right,
means.
nice. I mean, I'm sure you've picked up along the way from all the research you've
Yeah,
done. I mean, you're going to
yeah,
learn something, right? I mean,
yeah,
look at Ashton
absolutely,
Forbes. I
absolutely.
mean, he's not a physicist, but he's definitely learned a lot along the way, and he speaks
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
expert. He was on he was on Stephen Greer yesterday. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually, because I used to be quite a fan of his work, and sort of he was sort of to a degree the inspiration for this investigation,
Yeah.
and so it's my assumption that like he isn't as good at the physics as he makes out to be, and that he sort of endlessly is teaching his followers these things with no sort of end in sight, just to sort of continue getting money. And I don't think his followers are really sort of engaging with the physics that much. And to be honest,
No, they're not.
it seems like everyone's just sort of saying these buzzwords that they don't really understand.
Yeah.
And then when you
Yeah,
get
the new
someone
buzzword.
who's trying to get this out there and get it shared for peer review, which could have real sort of world implications,
Yeah.
I'm kind of shunned. And his reaction was actually, quite interesting. This is again, I might be wrong in saying this, but I'd never seen him be so political up until sort of this stuff, and it seemed like he's done a complete pivot in his
It
research
is
once I
weird.
sort of standed
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
stuff. It's but yeah, no,
It's too bad. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, definitely when someone builds up a following not based on politics, hardly actually any politics. There was some because he hates Reddit. He definitely hates the left. He has
yeah,
that. He's definitely always had that in him. So I think
yeah,
that's what happened with Charlie Kirk. I think it was a catalyst to that. He wants it to be the
yeah,
left. He wants it because he hates them so much. He wants to go after them. At least that's what I gave
yeah.
him. I'm like, that's what he's doing
I
here.
mean, I mean, again, after this, you would think. I suppose the reaction I was expecting is kind of something that I've
Yeah.
got like from you, sort of, trying to reach out to me, find out more information, sort of all this stuff.
Right.
But his instinct wasn't to do that. It was to sort of push it as his own, and sort of,
Right.
so that I think that tells me that you don't really care about this stuff, and you may be just in it for money. So
Right.
I don't really know, but nonetheless, what my investigation has found isn't necessarily attached to the MH370 videos. I mean, there's so
Oh
much
no, it
here
definitely goes beyond
that
that. Yeah.
it's just simply beyond that now. And
Yeah.
what we need people to do now is just look at this sort of stuff and just check it.
So and maybe I might be wrong with this, but so how does the AI or the research how does it differentiate like rumor from like legitimate testing evidence?
Yeah, I mean
Because you know how the
that's
DoD puts out
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
That's a really good question. I think it's sort of being strict with sort of making the AI sort of act from first principles and sort of what is genuinely physically possible, and sort of that's really important. Sort of making sure that AI is grounded in sort of reality and truth, and sort of all these things that you hear
Yeah.
AI experts echo, and I'm sure you would have heard like Elon say that before. These are all things that sort of give the AI its axioms of reality itself. Um, so you just basically make sure it has a rigorous sort of framework for sort of evaluating stuff, and make sure it's using sort of credible sources and stuff like that, and sort of
Yeah.
yeah, obviously building on previous research as well. That's a
And that
key
helps
point.
it. Right.
That helps
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it knows sort of where to pick up where it left off, and sort of the end result is it's by the end of it. I mean, you see in the sources now, it's probably
Yeah.
scrolled through
It's amazing. Yeah.
tens of thousands of different websites, and again, AI it isn't perfect all the time. It does hallucinate, and I'm not saying this is the world's most perfect AI system, but it's just simply found a lot, and it's been very good at weighing up information as
Right.
a result of my instructions and stuff like that. So yeah,
So yeah, so basically, and that research document does it connects plasma plasma containment geometries, right? Of Los
yes,
Alamos with Boeing.
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. Obviously, I wanted to find out, well, who's operating the stuff, who.
Yeah, yeah. Don't we all?
We'd figure out the what. We figured out sort of how long it took to develop, and when the
Yeah.
key sort of problems were solved and which programs were responsible. We figured all of that out. So at this stage, it was like, well, who and where is it? you know.
Exactly.
And that's ultimately what this document found. So it found, the specific contract, that could be used for sort of its cost plus structure. Again, cost
Yeah.
plus. There's a lot of sort of key sort of words in here which are a bit sort of, if you're not familiar with all this stuff, you might not know. But cost plus, the example I'll provide is
Yeah, let us know.
if the Lockheed $1 billion loss for that program that no one knows, and like, has anyone really found
Yep.
out what the $1 billion loss for? That's again
Nope.
a cost plus kind of thing, and the reach forward losses is specifically what happened there. And you want a cost plus structure so that they can change
Right.
the cost over time. So
Exactly, because you never
yeah.
because basically cost plus is like, well, it costs us this much and we can't take a loss, so you have to give us, like
Yes.
10,
Yes.
50% of profit, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a black hole, but that is a
Yep.
really cool connection. So basically, Los Alamos we can FOIA Los Alamos if any of this stuff comes out, but so it looks like
Yeah. Yes.
yeah,
I hope that um
or at least
people
from the
look at these
70s, bro.
documents, and I feel like people should have a more targeted way to
Yeah,
FOIA now.
absolutely. Yeah,
We know where sort of the cutting edge research has happened. We know sort of what these programs are. Sort of again, the pulse plasma propulsion sort of. FRC, plasma rockets and sort of air
mhm.
breathing MHDs, all these exotic things, all sort of exist within a similar domain. And yeah, this document was really interesting. It definitely sort of
It's good
put
for
the
us.
nail in the coffin almost.
I
It was
mean,
really cool.
yeah, and I love that that people such as yourself are showing us it's not just stories anymore. It's not people from the CIA or like Richard Doty or these guys telling us stories,
Hmm.
but this is you developed a system where these stories you can show evidence that this is
Hmm.
real and tangible is going on here, and it's
Hmm.
real breakthrough physics. And I love that we have this actually as a nation, right? It does
Hmm.
come from me. It just sucks that we as humanity have not moved since the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, things
Yeah.
are more shinier and cooler looking and faster maybe, but it's the same stuff. We still have microwaves, we still have cars, we still have computers. Okay, fine, cell phones. Maybe AI is the newest thing or the something that's been a breakthrough in our lives, I think. But
Yeah.
humanity hasn't really changed. And,
Hmm.
we're still the same violent, I'm not going to say barbaric, but violent and just superstitious type of
Mm.
species where it's just not allowing us to go to the stars. And
Yeah.
we talk about on the show, Topher and I would love to be like space truckers and just go out there. I mean, it's so fast, man.
And then do you know what? You never know. You never know what could happen. I mean, we're all just sort of here.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see if people do sort of pick up this information, peer review it, and
Yeah.
stuff. I really would like for that to happen because I came into this as a skeptic too.
Yeah.
And obviously, having seen all of this sort of information, it's clear that there's some technologies where, they're like, right, well, we could maybe use this for this program. And, maybe the public
Mhm.
might not be able to have this because, it could have a dual use functionality. So,
Right.
um, and I think that's the case with a lot of these things. So, yeah, let's hope that changes.
I mean, look at this one. It goes back to 1977, controlled
Yeah,
thermonuclear research program.
yeah, that's right.
So you think this is where the origins of the
Yeah, yeah.
CTR program?
Yeah, so again, this there's so many of these like similar kind of documents as the one on screen, but like essentially what you've got is in the 70s and onwards, you've got these experiments. Um, yes, precisely where they did they figured out sort of this reverse field data pinch sort of stuff, and again,
Yeah.
I'm not fully, deeply engaged with this. I don't understand all the physics
Me
completely,
neither. Yeah.
but hence why I wanted to share this stuff. However, what I will say is that being this specific about sort of when this stuff sort of first came around and stuff is something that I had never seen.
Yeah. Look at this.
Even from Ashton, sort of about this stuff. So,
Yeah.
I was kind of the one that found the specific lineage of programs and sort of all of that, and sort of backtrace that all the way to the Manhattan bomb. Obviously, the ones that I showed were sort of things that I could easily sort of say this is the excerpts from mine which he clipped, but I'm not entirely sure that I heard him say it was from the Manhattan Project until sort of all these.
I mean, look at the detail. I mean, fine, this is from the 70s, and
This is
it's
from the
probably
70s, yeah.
yeah, which is just
Mhm.
nuts. I
Yeah,
mean, and they released it probably because I don't know, they're way beyond this now. Obviously, they wouldn't be
yeah,
releasing this if
yeah,
they weren't, right?
yeah,
So
exactly. So
they could have
what this
easily
shows is
miniaturized this. Yeah.
like the early sort of nuclear thermonuclear reactor experiments, and again, as I said earlier, sort of they just progressively started observing these field reverse configurations, these self-arranging sort of plasmoids that would occur in sort of these experiments, and they progressively sort of boiled it down into what's known as the field reverse configuration, which is a fully self-sustaining ball of plasma. Um, and that's
Wow.
derived from all these different sort of discoveries within these experiments, starting with FRX, like A, B, C, and like a series of FRX experiments. That's what they're called, at
Yeah.
Los Alamos National Laboratory, and then obviously that progresses into sort of I forget the specific name, but the magneto inertial fusion and stuff that's active and going on today at Los Alamos, and there's actually quite an interesting sort of PowerPoint which I think sums it up quite well.
Oh,
And if you go to the website, and there should be a document called, and I've showed this quite a few times because this is
is it
a
under research?
yes. So if you head to the research section and you have a look at the 2020 Infuse workshop, you might need to scroll. There we go. The 2020 Infuse workshop,
Los Alamos.
and
There we go.
this pretty much lays it all out completely. Obviously, it's clear that this field is like a main area of focus for Los Alamos even today. This is a presentation from 2020.
Yeah, brand
Um,
new.
and yeah, it pretty much aligns with the research. And again, this is a primary, kind of PowerPoint from Los
Yep.
Alamos National Laboratory. So it's confirmation that these things aren't sort of conspiracy or anything like that, and it's a genuine thing. Um, yeah.
I mean, because we spent hundreds, and the Europeans as well, spent hundreds of billions of dollars on fusion, and they, we keep seeing press releases that come out every couple of years that now we're getting more electricity out from what than what's going in. But people always say that it must be a black hole of just funneling
Hmm.
money somewhere else to things that
Yeah.
actually work.
Hmm. So
And
exactly. Like, where is all these trillions of dollars going?
yeah,
I mean, it's more than likely these kind of programs. Again, I can't say for sure whether it is this program specifically, but I mean, when you look at sort of, you know, the, all of the documents, all of the papers, and they say, this is a guarantee. This can take us to Mars. We already know this. This is,
right.
how we're going to do this. This is an active field of research here, here, and here. It becomes quite clear. And yeah, feel free to show your followers, that sort of presentation if
Definitely, we'll link all these.
the workshop, that's really great. It shows sort of the Manhattan Project and sort of the key people that are researching it today.
Very
Yeah.
impressive.
So
Very impressive.
yeah, very
I mean,
amazing.
I don't know how. I mean, look, some kind of disclosure is coming out, right?
Hmm.
Because we can see it. There was a press release the other day where now the military is installing small, basically they're calling them nuclear reactors that can power up. They're
Yeah.
really small, but they can power up the entire base, and
Hmm.
that these are mobile units which are going to be deployed all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
coming. Something's coming.
It's funny because the the only possible thing really, that if they genuinely had some kind of compact fusion technology, the only thing that could genuinely be based upon is this plasma physics discovered within the Manhattan Project and the nuclear fusion sort of days.
Yeah.
So like this is, I mean, it amazes me every time I look at it, really.
Look at
So
that.
if you look at these companies here specifically,
Yeah.
Helion Energy, Sam Altman, he's the key investor in that company.
You're kidding me. I didn't.
Yep,
Wow.
yep, yep, yep. Genuinely, Sam Altman, key investor in that company. Again,
Uh-huh.
others like Peter Thiel are also have exposure to these companies through Mithril Capital and things like that. So
Makes
it's
sense.
really like yeah, genuinely. And then you also got to think about sort of Sam Altman's attendance at the sort of Bilderberg meetings and stuff. Like he's obviously a clear
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
part of the national security infrastructure,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Helion Energy specifically seems to be the front runner in sort of public facing nuclear fusion research. And if there was to be a small to medium nuclear reactor to power the AIs, it would be a
It'll be
company
this.
like Helion Energy. And it's funny
Yeah.
because look who owns it is the guy who already owns the AI. So was this sort of pre-planned? Was this thought out? Did you know that you was going to spin out this company? Will we be able to get
Exactly.
exposure to this company? Will it
Hmm.
be confirmed that this company does have operational technology that can, really supply that much energy to the AI? And it's funny that they say they're going to do these nuclear fusion power plants when they have
Yes,
something that
they're
really
saying
commands
that.
that amount of energy. They really do need to spin up these power plants and power the best AI, because China's in this race as well, and
Yes,
China
they
more than
are.
likely has this technology as well. So
Absolutely, they
hence
do.
why,
Yeah.
inevitably there's going to have to be some degree of disclosure, especially when it comes to this
Yeah.
compact fusion technology. I think that's why you've probably seen, the compact fusion patents come out and sort of
Hmm.
all that stuff. It's known that Lockheed is working on this compact fusion program. That's why just a couple of weeks ago you saw everyone get excited when they made that announcement. Like it's known.
So cool.
And this is the exact physics and stuff that is based upon. This is what
Yeah,
those teams will be
man.
researching how to implement on an airframe,
You
or
really
as a
would.
self-sustaining plasma ball. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's funny.
And you really connected it. I mean, this presentation, you can link it to that 1977 document, which
Yep.
shows. And what we've noticed over the past few years is that the national security state creates our oligarchs. So they know what's coming up. They know what new markets are opening up, and they usually just identify people and invest in. Like Oracle was created that way. Meta was when Facebook was created that way, right? With
Hmm.
InQtel and other Oracle was the same thing as well. The
Yeah.
database
Yeah.
came out of the CIA. Palantir
Yeah.
is the same thing, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Altman is also one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So again, hopefully, as more experts look at this, a bit more scrutiny is applied to these specific people, and maybe we all get this to reap the benefits of this technology,
would not be
like say
amazing. That's
lower
all we're
energy
asking for.
costs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, good, yeah,
just give the people something. If they gave people free energy, you know how much it will calm down the population. They wouldn't even need a security state anymore. It's
yeah.
just, yes, something can come out of it, but I'm sure there's a way for them to or concoct a system where no one can take these technologies and create something else out
Hmm.
of them. I don't know, something. They'll figure out something, but it just
Hmm.
can't go on like this. And they need to calm down the population. And there's, they're just holding everything. I think is the
Yeah.
problem. Just give
Yeah,
some crumbs.
again, I think it's clear that these sort of warnings were sort of echoed by uh, I forget specifically which president said it, but about the military-industrial
Oh yes,
complex and
Eisenhower.
sort of all this
Eisenhower. Yeah.
stuff. Eisenhower. I mean, what an amazing sort of thing to say, and that you wouldn't really know sort of the significance of that statement without sort of what knowledge we have here, and sort of all the other sort of things that you hear people talking about them having secret stuff that was made
Yeah.
80 years ago, and wait, could
You're
take ET back home and stuff like this.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So like I think it's clear that even then, the way sort of disclosure works, well, operational security works, and the compartmentalization of these these companies. I think he saw it then that eventually these
He
guys are
knew
going to
it.
get so further ahead that it probably ends up as you get one little faction of humanity that's so further ahead and has all this elite sort of technology or knowledge about the nature of reality, and they're
Yeah,
not
that's what's
keeping
so
that from
frustrating.
all of
Yeah,
us.
yeah, that is the most frustrating part about this, is that everyone is
Hmm.
kept in the dark, or at least they think humanity doesn't deserve to know, which goes completely against, Western civilization and how it was built up. It wasn't built up that way. It's like
Yeah.
going back to the Dark Ages and
Hmm.
with the history of the church, where they just killed anyone or kept all these secrets, which they still do, by the way. But like when the New World came, it was a very different mindset, and it was unfortunate. I think with the National Security Act, it put a lid on that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But this is such a cool presentation, and
Yeah.
look, and these three companies are the future, basically. Tri Alpha,
Essentially,
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, if you look at the network graph, you'll see how sort of key these companies are in sort of um, this field of research. TAE specifically is quite heavily linked to sort of Israel's Compact Fusion program, or it seems like.
hmm,
Again, um, careful to sort of make assertions here, but um, that's why the research documents assumed. So, and again, Helion Energy, and I explained sort of the links to sort of Sam Altman and David Kirtley and sort of those guys, and Anthony Pancotti. Actually, he did a presentation to Congress talking
uh-huh.
about how um, well. Um, he had worked with some of the key expertise at Helion Energy, who were obviously, as we know, doing these FRC plasma research. And he, did a presentation to Congress, and I posted this on my Twitter, explaining how these FRC, propulsion rockets could be used to take us to Mars and beyond,
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
love
And
those.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy. And
I
the
mean, I
sky
mean, I mean,
is active. Yeah.
yeah, and definitely nuclear rockets were a thing in the '60s, and there's lots of documents and even
Hmm.
videos about the research, and then boom, it just went dark. So
Hmm.
they went somewhere with that, right? And
Hmm.
it's just so frustrating how we have a faction of humanity that can just, traverse the solar system. Well, we're fighting down here over, pieces of land.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this document, you recently also shared this one. You called the CIA P2
Yeah.
uh,
So this
research.
this is again another really interesting document. I did think to share it because it came from sort of some deeper research into sort of um, Richard Banderick's sort of network and all that stuff. I can't be too specific, but I'm
That's
sure
fine.
people could quite easily figure it out just by looking at the document and sort of doing their own research. But yeah, this website, quite a strange website to say the least. But again, I will say it's a derivation of sort of where this research has taken me. It's not like something I've found from a
Right.
conspiracy forum or something like that. It's just sort of in these sort of national security circles and sort of kind of the things that these people speak about. And yeah, it's an
So
interesting document for sure, and I thought I'd share it
yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much in here. There's so much in here, and this document specifically was published in 2002. And if you look at
Okay.
some of the aircraft here, namely like the Boeing UCAV-N and just some of the stuff here, I mean, these are like cutting edge technologies. I mean, there was a photo of a guy with a VR headset from the 80s, and like
You're kidding me.
that's really niche. I know, obviously it was, it's been around for a while and stuff like that, but some of the aircraft in here, specifically the Boeing UCAV, and that was only like revealed quite recently. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong on that, but
It
again,
was
something
recent. Yeah.
people. Yeah, precisely. So some of the stuff in it is just amazing, and
There it is.
again, it sort of adds proof to the point. There's the VR headset,
Yeah.
that all these cutting edge technologies were developed a long time ago.
Which is
This
so
is
nuts to think
2002.
that.
This is
Yeah.
2002. A guy knew to sort of, and again, I think it's amazing that this guy's pretty much got the modern landscape of warfare in one document. He's got all of the latest and greatest cutting edge aircraft, some of which have only just recently been revealed.
Right.
He's got, you know, well, I mean, see for yourself. He's got so much.
Whoa, look at
Um,
this one. Dark Star.
yeah, I mean, when has
Boeing.
anyone ever seen these before? Has anyone
Right.
ever seen anything like this before? Because I certainly
No.
haven't.
No.
But as soon as I came across this stuff, I thought I should definitely share this. Um, but yeah, really, really interesting, some of this
I mean,
stuff.
drones weren't a thing, or even remote control aircraft was not a thing until after 9/11. That's when
Yeah,
these
yeah,
systems started
yeah,
coming out, and
yeah,
this is showing it like from the 50s. This is
yeah,
80,
uh,
1995,
yeah.
1970. This is Northrop Grumman.
Yeah,
Look at
and
this
bear in
small
mind
thing.
this whole sort of collection of all these different photos and stuff. This was put together in 2002.
Wow.
So like, and I think that's even more staggering that this has been out there since 2002 and no one's found
And
it.
it was some obscure website.
Yes, yes, some obscure website on Internet Archive. Again, I don't know how you would come across it, but
Right, yeah. Is Northrop Grumman, of course. Yeah, yeah, it looks like that. So basically this guy's premises is that most UFOs and UAPs are government projects. I think a lot of us agree with that,
hmm
But
yeah,
uh, and even now, people are saying even in the 1800s, with the airships, we did a show on that as well. That the airships easily could have been financed because J.P. Morgan was
mm,
involved with that, so he might have invested in something like that as well. So there's always
hmm
been this breakaway group that's been
yes,
funding
yes.
breakaway technology and just keeping it from the rest of us.
Yeah. Again, I really can't say much for sure. I suppose I kind of got my credibility on the line here as a researcher. I don't want to make any assertions, but I mean, if you just look at sort of all of these, like it's
Yeah,
clear that certain factions of the military are
yeah.
way ahead of anything um, people were probably thinking at that time. I mean, this stuff looks cutting edge to me
Wow.
now in 2025, and this was published in 2002, and a collection of research that dates earlier than that. So it's quite outstanding, really.
It
Yeah.
really is. I just, looking at these things, of course, F-117, it's always been
hmm
nuts. Right now, it's pretty much obsolete, I'd say. Oh, look at that. Lockheed F-117 stealth combat fighter bomber.
hmm
Yeah.
Again,
This weird one.
there's just so many that I don't think anyone has ever seen before. To be honest.
Trillions of dollars. Look at this one. Yeah. I mean,
Again, some of these I'd heard of, but I don't know if I'd seen photos of them. And I mean, these are just wow. All of these
a lot of these look
quite.
like alien,
Yeah,
aircraft.
it's really funny. It's a lot of them do. This one I thought was really funny. I didn't really know what I was exactly looking at in that top one.
This
Um,
one here, the Manta.
yeah, if you scroll
Yeah.
up, again, it's like I don't exactly really know what that is. But I mean, just every single sort of piece of this, and just to sort of add further credence to this sort of plasma
Mm,
propulsion sort of concept. This isn't new. I mean, this guy in
no.
2002,
Right.
as you'll see in this document, there is a whole sort of, section dedicated to pulse plasma and pulse power and sort of, using plasma for space propulsion. That's been an area of research for a long, long time before Ashton Forbes. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Look at
fascinating. But
There it
you
is.
have to give him credit for discovering the thing. But I mean,
Oh, absolutely,
uh, but
and
yeah,
pushing
yeah,
this to the masses. That's what
yeah,
he
yeah,
definitely played a role in that. You can't
yeah, for
say
sure,
anything
for
that.
sure,
Yeah, yeah, he
for
definitely
sure.
raised awareness, and he's still doing it today.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a shame he's not sharing this stuff because I think some of it is just absolutely mind blowing.
this is mind blowing right here. So pulse plasma technology. I think this is 1990. The first time I
Yeah.
heard about this was when we sent. was that 5 or 6 years ago? But it was Mach 7 or Mach 9. It was some big deal. The U.S. shared that they were doing it, and they told us
Mhm.
that what the technology was that they were pulsing the atmosphere in front of the craft with lasers that would
Mhm.
basically move away the air. There'll be no more air
Yeah, like ionized.
molecules in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, that's you know, you hear that quite a lot, and I'm pretty sure that's, you know, sort of like this electric sort of field propulsion. You know, a lot of
Hmm.
using metamaterials and stuff to sort of ionize the air and, you know, achieve sort of you know, 0 point energy effects. You know, that these are all real sort of avenues of real research. And you know, how interesting is that? I wish more people knew about that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, it'll get more people back into science, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we'll get more.
and again, if you scroll up there, it seems that what you see there, that gimbal,
This one?
again, this is none of this is confirmed. This is a gimbal. It's called a gimbal. I've never actually
Oh,
seen
what?
what this looks
Gimbal
like.
platform. You're kidding me.
Yeah, and this uses that similar pulse particle technology of plasma for propulsion. So my question was, could this be what these supposed
Yeah, the
orbs
gimbal
are?
craft.
You know, like a gimbal that can, you know, rotate on its axis using these jets and sort of all this stuff, and you know, with a microchip at the center. I wonder. Again, I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm not a
Right.
physicist, not an
Yeah.
engineer. Um, but yeah, so
That
interesting.
is that is an amazing find right there. Gimbal platform. Flight 1995.
Hmm.
I mean, where is all this stuff? Is it just hiding underground just to, when it's look at this thing. Lockheed Sea Shadow.
Yeah, yeah. Never seen that before either.
No, me neither. What?
Um, from what I understand, just looking at the title there, that it has some kind of you know, reverse image protection technology. I presume for stealth. You know, it can like bend the
Yeah.
light around it. Presumably, again, these are all concepts that people have heard about. But just the date of when they was exploring these things is just staggering.
Yeah.
You know,
It
the
looks like something out
'80s.
of Star Wars.
Yes, yes,
Right?
exactly. You know, these things look sci-fi,
Yeah.
and these are
Yeah.
all real things. And frankly, I've never seen photos of any of these. You know, why aren't these heralded like the fighter jets we see? Why don't we hear about these things? What went wrong with these crafts? You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
why don't we see these everywhere? Well, I think you know, they were, you know, developed further and became something, you know, so
Mhm.
good that it was, you know, a guarded secret.
I mean, it could be off
Potentially,
planet. I mean, where else are they hiding
or
these things?
yeah, potentially, or off planet. That's the
It's
other
yeah,
scary prospect. You know,
yeah,
but who knows? I mean, you know, fascinating times we live in, and I just
definitely.
really thought that people had to see this and verify this information.
Yeah, this is amazing
Um,
stuff, man. And anti-magnetic floating wet dock. So crazy. I've never seen any of these things, and I just love how the
yeah,
computers are like the '90s computers.
yeah, it looks like against Star Trek or Star Wars, or
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's quite outstanding. And then look at this thing, like what?
Submersible space shuttle. So maybe these are the things doing 300 knots. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you hear Tim Burchett. He says that they've got these submersibles that, you know, are the size of cities, and just move underneath them at,
Yeah,
you know, incredible speeds. I think Tim Burchett, you know, he
he
seems
said
pretty
it.
credible.
Yeah,
Um, but he did say these things, and I think it's reasonable to assume that, you know, there's stuff, there could be stuff hiding in our oceans. We haven't explored much of it. But
for
again,
sure.
I mean, you know. We don't really know what the consensus is, and whether you know, whether we have like a relationship with sort of these UAP people, and like
Yeah,
if we did get these technologies from like you know, UFOs, you know, extraterrestrials, you know, I have no idea. Um,
yeah. I mean,
but yeah.
it is very complicated, and of course, those theories are out
Hmm.
there as well. Is that at some point,
Hmm.
we've been working together with whatever these beings are, or maybe they're human, like
Yeah.
Giorgiani says that they are
Yeah.
just humans, human beings, just advanced human beings, Atlanteans or
Yeah.
whatever, and that we are helping them or creating things for them,
Hmm.
like Charles Hall says as well. So who knows? We just don't know, and maybe that's why they just always keep it secret. But it's not really secret because from what you can tell, is that things are out there, and if you do have the means and the motivation to go look for it, you will find it. It's just never going to be official. It's just never going to be officially.
Yeah, these things
said.
will never come out. You just need to get people to look at them and
Yeah.
say, well, just apply some scrutiny to it.
Right.
I'm confident that these documents could hold up scrutiny, and if more people see them, then they'll see that there's so much that's been discovered here. I mean, we've essentially got the whole picture of what the latest and greatest of advanced propulsion research is, and sort of who's involved. And with this document specifically, it's just wow. We can see sort of how the military has had this technology for a long time, and
Exactly.
it makes you wonder, what do they have now?
Yeah. What do they have
Yeah.
now? I mean, and I'm just worried about financially because we've spent so much money on these technologies. They do have tricks up their sleeves, and I just spoke to a guy early this morning about crypto and how crypto is probably going to be used for them to just get rid of that $35 trillion debt that we have.
Yeah, that's
But
right. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But if
Yeah.
these are real assets, then there could be a way to help us financially. And this, or just be transparent. If you bring out these technologies to the public, and then you have free energy, that will decrease the cost of a lot of activities, human activities. So that will decrease the cost of there, but it could revive the economies of the world. And have a new economy with new technologies. I can't really articulate it right, but we're just at the end of this post World War II system, and it has
Yeah,
to be
yeah. It's
revived.
this sort of we're in a new age of information, really.
Yeah,
With sort of AI and information and learning, really. I mean, AI, what an incredible development. I think that's gonna sort of
yeah,
unearth a lot of discoveries and maybe upset some people that don't want things being found. Like, look at what's happened here.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm hopeful that in the future, AI and sort of all that stuff, it just eventually does this again, and it sort of dabbles into what it shouldn't do, and it tells the big secrets. Obviously within reason. I want us all to be safe. I want us to live in a society, but I want us to live in a utopia where we can all go to the
And we
stars and,
can,
and beyond.
we can.
And we
Yeah,
absolutely can with this
yeah,
technology.
yeah.
So it seems. Yeah.
It does, and if things, and I mean, I'm sure these technologies could also, because from what I've seen, the limited things of what I've seen, like the
Hmm.
Sapphire project, right? It actually creates gold and elements that weren't originally there. So with these
Hmm.
technologies, we don't even have to mine anymore. We don't have to mine for elements. We can literally create these elements from
Hmm.
these technologies. So there won't be competition. So this whole fear of, well, terrorists are gonna make a bomb and then bring it here in 2 seconds. There will be no need for that. Of course, you're gonna have the fanatics, like of course the religious fanatics, but those are on all sides.
Hmm.
Those people might think this is like Satan technology or something like that.
Yes, yeah,
I wouldn't put it
yeah.
past them, and say that's
Again, who are
demonic.
we to know? I mean, the nature of reality itself is something which I find quite interesting, and I think they should let us sort of explore these concepts
Yeah.
openly,
Yes.
without sort of a bit of a stigma and these things.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the implications of this technology is just simply massive. Imagine being able to go on a holiday to another exoplanet. I mean, how
Oh
amazing would
man,
that be?
so cool. You ever watch The Foundation
Yeah.
on Apple TV? It's a
No,
great
but
show.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that sounds
It's
cool. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're after Isaac Asimov's one of Isaac Asimov's short stories. So very very
Ah,
cool. Yeah, I think
yeah, I'll
like
check it out. Thanks, man. I'll check it out. That sounds
yeah.
cool.
I mean, you know, it's I mean, and we have in our government lots of fundamentalists, right? Christian fundamentalists, and they think this is all demonic. And just like, you know,
Yes.
Pompeo,
Yeah.
he is evangelical. He was head of the CIA. He even
Yeah.
scoffs at this. He goes, "Yeah, yeah, I've seen those files. It doesn't mean anything." You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, what is wrong with you,
Yeah.
man?
Well, it's again, I suppose there's some people where, you know, if they don't necessarily understand something, or like I'm sure that similar things were said about TVs
Oh
and the cutting
yeah,
edge then and
they
stuff.
were.
So you know, it's like sort of the phrase that you hear, you know, technology we don't understand is akin to magic. You
It
know,
is. Yeah,
maybe it's a bit like that. Technology we don't understand looks
yeah.
demonic. But you know, it I could be wrong, and it could be a case of we really do live in
It,
some kind of spiritual world. But who knows?
it
Who really
it
knows at
might be
this
that.
stage?
Yeah.
Um,
The thing is,
yeah,
we won't find out unless we are allowed to explore it. Isn't that the point of being
yeah,
here? You know,
precisely. Yeah, we need
right,
open discussion, open dialogue, and
right,
sort of all this stuff needs to be sort of published and peer reviewed.
right. And if it turns out that it is demonic and it's against God's order or God's system, and so be it. Then it is. You know, then you shut it down. You don't use that as an excuse and say it's demonic. Sorry, it's closed off for you, but we'll use it, kind of
Hmm.
thing, right?
Hmm. It's
So
yeah.
yeah. This is another one, another document, the MSNW LLC, and it's about the
Hmm.
funding, right? That you've uncovered beyond
Yes,
these
yes.
technologies.
Yeah, that's right. Again, I'm not quite sure if it's this exact document or the helium one,
Oh,
but a similar kind of again, both just as important.
yeah.
But sort of the analysis of sort of where this money has gone and for which programs and sort of which SBIR programs and stuff, you know, happened with helium and MSNW. This is, you know, specifically, you know,
Ah,
so what got stolen. You know, this there's a table somewhere, but yeah, essentially what this document explains um, is how sort of MSNW has had a, you know, well, they actually have a long history working with NASA
mhm,
in advanced propulsion research, fusion-driven rocket being their proposal and sort of what they've got this contract to do, this fusion-driven rocket. And if you look at the sort of the patents for this fusion-driven rocket and sort of
mhm.
the testimony that Anthony Pancotti, who is, you know, involved with this company, he works. I believe he's the director or something like that at MSNW. I can't remember exactly, but definitely involved there. He testified on behalf of MSNW to Congress. You know, saying how important this technology is and how it needs investment and all this stuff. And sort of outlining all the wonderful stuff it could do. And I also posted that specific sort of sort of statement that he gave to Congress on my Twitter, which people can
All
feel
right,
free to
very
check
cool.
out.
Yeah, yeah. If he did that, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Why would someone like Musk not pour money into fusion
yeah,
reaction rockets?
yes, yeah. So that's a good question actually, and I suppose I've thought about that a lot more
Yeah.
recently. And at the end of the day, Musk is you know, like a military contractor.
Pretty much.
You know, so um, even in the event, you often hear him say if he says he finds evidence of aliens, he'd post it immediately, etc.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is the case necessarily because um, had there, again, you know, the consensus seems to be that there's some kind of secretive government program to do with interacting with aliens or alien
Mhm.
recovery, you know, of craft and recovery of alien craft and all of that kind of stuff. Then, you know, so if that does exist within the military, I don't think Elon would want to upset his
Yeah,
military
you're
overlords,
spot
you
on.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
reason why he's
Yeah,
stayed
yeah.
quiet with this whole thing.
Right. And you know, Elon, you want to take us to Mars and the stars, then using rocket technology is not going to get us there. But he knows that for
Hmm.
sure. He knows that. But
Hmm.
I guess it's good for business, and maybe it's the spectacle and the show and just, you know, the explosion. I mean, you know, us humans, I guess we like that. And if it's
Hmm.
just If it's just going to be these technologies where we don't even see them leave or take off, then it's not really a spectacle
Yeah,
anymore,
yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, shooting stuff out of the back to move. I mean, it's an archaic way of thinking. Surely there has to be something we can do to move better than just blowing up stuff behind us, you know?
Right.
And it's clear that there is, but for some reason it's just not being taken very seriously, or I don't know. From what I understand, it seems like physics as a whole is stagnating a bit. You hear Eric
Definitely.
Weinstein saying that there's not enough peer review anymore. There's a bit of a dogma within physics now. They don't really explore sort of new concepts and all this stuff.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
obviously, I'm not really a physicist that much, but I do think it's important to have open dialogue, open discussion. If all of this research that I have found is absolute nonsense, then say why. We provide a valid, scrutiny and rebuttal. But as far as I understand it, they then they solved all the key physics problems years and years ago, and now they're just trying to get money to engineer it and implement it through
Right.
things like the fusion-driven rocket and a
Or
few
even
things like,
AI. I mean,
or even AI,
yeah,
yeah, precisely, yeah.
because
Let's
there's,
leverage this energy supply
yeah,
to power
exactly.
our AI.
Yeah.
We've got the best in the world.
Yep.
If this stuff is true,
Yep.
then the US has the best in the world. So
Yeah.
um, we could easily win the AI race.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right,
So
exactly. And yeah,
yeah.
and it's a way to bring it to the public without really disclosing, that they've been doing this for so long. It's like, because the mechanism now is AI. Hundreds of billions of
Hmm.
dollars are going into AI, right? And they're all investing
Yeah.
in each other. Nvidia is investing in OpenAI. Microsoft is investing in all of them as well. And yeah, so you're right. So if they're if Sam Altman has a connection to Helion, and Helion does plasma reactors or
Yeah.
physics. It's a way to
Yeah.
bring it to the public, and then once humans are involved, and we've seen this with the internet.
Hmm.
Once DARPA gave us the internet, look what we did with it. Once it happened in crypto, once the NSA also made a cryptocurrency, and then Bitcoin came out. Look what we've done with that. So
Yeah,
when you,
that's an interesting one. Bitcoin itself,
yeah,
that's really interesting.
yeah,
Again, the beauty of this OSINT thing is I could theoretically research anything. So I wonder what I would find if I looked
yeah,
into um, sort of Bitcoin and all of that. But
that would be
yeah,
a good one actually.
I want people to review this stuff first and see
Yeah,
if they'll just just review it. It needs to stuff like this. It's very some would say outrageous claims. There's secret government programs and all this stuff. So it needs to have a high level of scrutiny, and I
yeah,
encourage
I
everyone
agree.
to sort
Someone,
of
yeah.
hold it to that. Yeah.
And who knows what kind of strategy someone might use to, because yes, you have all the sources here, but then what if some of these sources are counter intel, or like you're
Yeah,
gonna have those
yeah,
people,
yeah,
and that, yeah, and we need
yeah.
those voices to look at this.
Yeah, that's very,
Uh,
very, very true. Very possible,
yeah,
and very likely actually. And
right.
there's some things that are published out there just to sort of be, um, sort of misdirections and avenues
Yep.
for, sort of misdirection for foreign adversaries and stuff.
Yep.
So,
100%.
these are all real things that obviously the AI has to sort of weed through that too.
Yeah.
Um, Again, you can only do so much in removing the bias. It can still probably be manipulated and fall victim to sort of counter intel. Who knows? But the
Oh,
more
we
people
often
that
fall
look at
for that.
this, yeah, I think we all do, unfortunately, as humans. But I just really hope that people review all of this information. That was always my intention. Everyone from the layman to the expert. That's why I put the website there, so you could really delve deep and sort of see how all these different companies and people are connected through the graph, or you could see sort of the full timeline with a timeline, and then you could check the research for yourself through the research section, and you can even read the summary, which is an attempt to sort of synthesize all the information, even though that may be subject to some
Mhm.
inaccuracies. Simply because there's so much data, right? I mean, even you yourself, I'm sure you've scrolled through some of them. There's so many
Yeah.
sources, so many
So
pages to
many.
in each individual thing. It's huge. But yeah, it's quite interesting to say the least.
So when you said they're up for a peer review, are just on your website, or did you upload them somewhere, or have you done like GitHub
Yeah,
or something like that?
unfortunately, I don't really have any other avenues for peer review. Again, the intention was to send this to sort of Ashton, him being sort of the
Hmm.
expert, quote unquote, in the space. I
Yeah.
thought he would be able to shed some light on sort of the validity of the findings, and some of which he did validate and actually repurposed as his own.
Mm,
So I suppose it does add credence, but nonetheless wasn't the outcome I was hoping for. I was hoping that he would, drive people to look at all of the documents, because there's just so much here,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
people really sort of need to like again, it's a huge sort of task. It's why you kind of need like a group effort. People really need to sort of sit through these documents and individually comb through and see what they can verify and find and sort of all that stuff. Because I mean, it is staggering findings, but it really just needs to sort of be shared around and sort of, I guess set out into clear bullet points for the media.
Yeah.
You know?
So I mean, let's touch on Ashton for a bit. Let us know what happened, because I know that you've come out publicly only in the past month. You did do a presentation about who you are and
Mhm.
what you've done with your research, and then you did mention Ashton as well. We kind of brushed upon it a little bit here, but if you want, we can, if you want to go into just a little more detail of what happened there,
Yeah,
if you think it's
absolutely.
helpful.
So, and anyone listening, again, feel free to sort of delve into that. So, obviously, once I'd done all this research, I sent it to Ashton in hopes that he could say,
Sorry,
yeah,
yeah,
it's funny.
sorry, yeah,
Hearing that. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, yeah. And yeah, so obviously I sent it to Ashton hoping that, he could either share it on to his followers or just, sort of provide some feedback and sort of stuff for further research.
yeah,
Um, Obviously you don't want your early research to be flawed, because you don't want that to turn into a bigger problem. And thankfully, my early research was so good that I mean, you can see in some of the Discord sort of screenshots, I sent him some of the documents, and then eventually, well, not eventually, but literally the next day, for the
he's quick. He is quick.
literally the next day, um, he posts like some video, some live stream on his YouTube, and he's like MH370 solved. Like I've never seen him claim to have solved. Like he's never claimed to have solved MH370 in 2 years. In 2 years,
Right.
this guy has never once made a video asserting that he's solved MH370. He's like, oh, we found this, or investigating this. But
Yeah.
he sees some of my findings, and I tag sort of the specific things which I sent to him, which led to these sort of pivotal, kind of findings, and him being like, "Oh my god, it's solved." It's like, and yeah, as you can see there, clear as day, direct sort of
Right.
excerpt from my research, and then he streams to his followers, and he's saying, "Oh, I solved MH370," and I actually engaged with that
Oh, you did?
stream specifically,
Yeah.
and hoping that he would like show the research and sort of direct people to it and stuff,
Right.
but he did absolutely none of that, and he just sort of brazenly claimed it as his own, really, which sort of says it all, really.
Wow.
But yeah, no, so I sent further bits of research after that.
Okay.
And yeah, he stole all those too. Again, sort of like fool me once, fool me twice kind of thing. And then obviously I created the website and just published it all myself.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Good for you that it's all up there now. And we thank you that it's all organized under there. This is and we've just touched the surface. There's so much more
Yeah.
that you've uncovered. And it's all in the research part of the website. But this behavior, I think it's kind of typical when you reach some level, especially, I don't know how many thousands of people he has on his Discord, and
Hmm.
all this activity, and who knows, maybe it's not even him. He might have people working for him grabbing this stuff and telling him, "Oh, we solved it." I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
know he's got a job, right? And he's serious
Mm.
about it. It's a serious job that he's busy at. So, and he's got so much on his table. He's got all these interviews and so much coming at him. I just don't. But maybe he did. Maybe he just took it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
But
I'm really not quite sure. Frankly,
yeah,
um,
It's hard to
It's
say.
fine. It's fine. I'm confident that, with people like you, the research will get out there nonetheless.
That's what.
It was,
Yeah,
it's just a shame really that
it
obviously,
is.
these incredible sort of discoveries, like for example, the specific fusion-driven rockets and sort of,
I love that.
what the company that existed before Sam Altman's company of Helion Energy and sort of all these
All
things
of a
like.
sudden shows up. Yeah,
Yeah, all these crazy discoveries.
yeah.
He's branding as his own. Um, no, yeah. So
It's sad,
and
really.
multiple examples, and then like another example of something that sort of that you know the evidence pointed towards a specific kind of arrangement of the plasmas, the plasma balls in the video or something to sort
Yeah.
of lock them in place and stuff, right? And it's funny that like there's a very specific buzzword that theory is called, and it's
Ye-
four-wave mixing. And he never once mentioned it in his 2 years of doing this stuff. But
He's
again, all
using a
this
new
is
word.
Thursday.
There was a
Yeah,
new
so
word
essentially,
today.
this new buzzword, and
Yeah.
it's directly from me, right? So, again, it's not like some nonsense thing. It's a real sort of theory.
Right.
But like, he's just grabbed it from watching my video and sort of saying, "Oh, it's in a four-wave mixing arrangement," and sort of all this. It's just quite brazen.
Has he reached out at all since then, or not really?
He said a reply in a thread. I believe it was Ryan Matter's thread, and
Oh, of course,
yeah,
Ryan's thread. Yeah.
and this is the specific example, but he did a reply. I think it was that one on, might have been another one. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
And it was essentially like a non-answer. It was like, oh well, you stole my research, and that's why I didn't show you your website because you stole my research, right?
Huh?
Um, so, yeah, and that's what he said. And he was like, "Oh, and you're now banned from my Discord." And I just
Of
thought that was,
course, he said that.
yeah. I was just like, "Oh well, that's just such a pathetic response,
Oh
really."
my
I mean,
god.
you can't really claim that I've stole all of this from you. Obviously,
All
I've
of
been
it.
quite open about how I stumbled
Uh,
upon this sort of field and sort of all that stuff. The MH370 videos, all that stuff, and sort of all being a physics teacher. I'll leave that to Ashton. That's completely fine. But I'm trying to get people to review sort of these
it's
documents and
important.
figure
Yeah.
out whether we've conclusively mapped out sort of the ecosystem of advanced propulsion companies, which we really have. We got Richard Van Derk's company in there.
Yeah.
You've got Charles Chase's a company which does research into these like sort of advanced concepts, and they're all unified by this sort of new sort of theory called extended electrodynamics, which again you
Hmm.
don't hear about that. But these are all real topics of physics, which
What's the new one he's using? A neutronics or something? A
oh,
neutronic.
a neutronic fusion.
Yes.
So that's essentially fusion that doesn't generate any neutrons, right?
Right.
Again, I don't think there's necessarily anything special about that.
Right.
I think he's just trying to use these buzzwords and
It's a
sort of
trick.
yeah, it's like some of
Yeah.
his fans, especially that engage with him in the discourse, seem quite impressionable, and I'd almost say like and I want to be careful, but like some of them, they're just like sort of really, I suppose, enamored by him. They're just reaffirming sort of everything he says, blindly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't think they're actually there to sort of learn physics or anything like that. And I don't think he's there to actually teach them physics. I think he's there to collect the ad revenue, make endless content, and be affirmed by his small band of yes men
It's
in
crazy how
in his
how
Discord.
he says that you stole the research when it's always been there. I mean, sorry,
Yeah,
many of
yeah.
us have been talking about this forever. Yes, he communicated it much better and got a bigger audience, but it's not his
Hmm.
research, right?
Hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of when the secret space program came out. That Richard Dolan was talking about it, and so was Catherine Austin Fitz, and anyway, so but there was many conferences, but then this guy came out of nowhere, and he repackaged it as his own, and he started. What was his name? I forget now, but everyone was making fun of him about blue space aliens or something like that. But he
Yeah.
ended up suing people
Wow.
and he tried to trademark the space secret space program phrase, which he wasn't
Yeah.
able. So
Yeah.
hopefully he's not going that way.
Again, I'm not here to try and sort of be like, oh, I want to trademark the research or anything like that. I just want people to
Right.
see it. Frankly, Ashton has something. He's got a good reach.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously, people should see this stuff, and that was why I reached out to him, not for any kind of fame or anything like this or money. I just want people to see this information and review it for themselves. And that's ultimately it, really. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna need to head off soon.
All right. All
Um,
right. Sounds good. So wait, let me
but
just
so
check.
I've maybe got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and I mean, you've drawn some seriously like fascinating like through line connecting basically plasma physics,
Hmm.
classified R&D, and AI driven research. Till from the 40s till today, and
Yeah.
that is where this lies. It's not like it came up in 2017 and people got interested, and then that's when this technology started coming. No, that we've had discoveries from a long time ago. They've been hidden for a long time as well. Now we're
Hmm.
not saying that real UFOs or whatever are not real, but we're saying most of them are from this civilization, not another one.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean all of them are,
Yeah,
but
potentially inspired by contacts. You never really know. But yeah,
right,
I think coincidentally, it seems like they did emerge out of the 40s, World War II. You look at the CIA document, the Bell Laboratories sort of image. It says again, I've not delved into that side of things. Mainly, I've sort of been looking at it from a plasma and physics and sort of a
yeah,
progression of research and engineering perspective. But um, yeah,
yeah. I
these things
wonder
have been
if
around
you
for a
can
long
look at it.
time.
Yeah, if you can look at crypto, that'd be great as well. See if that goes back to these
Yeah,
same
find
these.
Satoshi.
Yeah, exactly. Find Satoshi. You never know. You might be able to do it. You know.
Okay, well, maybe stay tuned, guys. Maybe that's the next one. I do think that would be an interesting one to sort of see if I can crack. But yeah,
Yeah, that'd
no,
be cool.
this at the end of the day, this was a fun sort of little side project for me, and I just had to share the findings because I thought they were so astounding. And I'd
Definitely
just like to say
outstanding.
thank you for having me on, Adam, as well. It's been
Yeah,
really
yeah, of
fun.
course. And so, I mean, we'll direct everyone to your website. We'll also direct them to your X account so they can follow you.
Thanks, man.
But
Thank you.
everyone should go and read these documents and what you've uncovered and the connections. Those are important because then it's not just you're not a conspiracy theorist. No one can
Hmm.
throw around that term at you because it's been gathered through different sources that are separate, independent sources.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's very important for this research, and you are definitely adding a lot to that. And we appreciate it. We definitely
Yeah.
appreciate that for you.
Yeah, thanks, man, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
I hope I've explained it, for you guys again, to the best of my abilities, a lot there. But yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been really fun.
It's been a pleasure, and everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Please follow us on X at UAP the podcast and on all the platforms: YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, all of those, just in case we get censored. You never know these days. But yeah, this has been episode 138. Military Solved is our guest, and
Thanks,
yeah.
guys. Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
see you guys all next week. Thanks.
Cheers.